So we've come to the final segment of this discussion, which is when each of you will be given an opportunity to ask one question to one particular candidate, and you decide which candidate you want to ask this particular question. So I think for this round, we'll do it in alphabetical order. And since you're all Tans, I will use your middle name to decide. So we'll start with you, Dr. Tan Cheng Bock. Your question? You don't have a question? Okay. You can ask him a question.
Can you explain his gambling site in the iPhone?
Now, this question about gambling. Now, what is gambling? My family goes to
Sorry,
my
I forgot
mother,
to say you have 2 minutes in this round.
87 years old,
Yeah, okay,
every
yeah.
Sunday to play mahjong. I tell you, money passed. Is that gambling? I don't think so. And many ordinary Singaporeans queue up to buy Toto and to buy 4D with money that they would otherwise have spent on smoking or other avenues. They enjoy Toto and 4D. That's not gambling. Gambling is when you spend money you can't afford to lose, when you borrow. Now that would be bad. And I think when we see gambling that is excessive, we must take action. And I call on the government to take appropriate action. But social betting, for the fun of it, is a pastime for ordinary folks, ordinary people. They even like to put $20 on your football match. I don't consider that as gambling. So that would be my answer. Thank you.
Dr. Tony Tan? Yes.
Well, I've been rather intrigued by Mr. Tan Kim Lian's aspiration to be the voice of the people. Is that right?
Yes.
The last general election, it seems to me, has shown that the people have many voices and are not shy of expressing their own voices. So perhaps Kim Lian can enlighten me and the others on which voice will he actually proclaim.
It will be the voice of the majority of the people. It will be the voice that is evaluated to be valid. And there are ways of handling this. You hear large numbers of people. If necessary, you put it to a referendum. Of course, we think about referendum as everybody to vote. You don't need everybody to vote. If there are a few voices and you have 100 people to choose which are most important, like what Silfang has done on the questions, you can find those views that are largely supported by large numbers of people. That will be how I want to act. I want to bring out the voice of the people.
Mr. Tan Kim Lian, your opportunity.
Over 25 years, I've been very passionate about national service. I know national service is important to Singapore, but for 25 years, I've said it's giving an unfair burden to Singaporean males in the competition for jobs against females and now against foreign workers, foreigners. So I want to ask Dr. Tony Tan, when you were Minister for Defence, were you aware about this heavy burden that male Singaporeans have to face in doing national service, the difficulties that they face? And also, even when they finish their full time, they also have to meet the reservist liability that causes them disruption in their job. So I want to ask whether we could have done something better in the past or even now to reduce that liability.
Well, the answer is very simple. Not only was I, as Minister of Defence at that time, conscious about this, the whole government has always been conscious about this. We recognize the sacrifice made by our young men in serving out their national service obligations. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, we need national service to protect our country. As Minister for Defence, my priority was to make sure that our people, their homes, their children are safe. And we need military force to do that. It is a burden, but it is a burden which cannot be escaped if Singapore is to have its own space, be able to follow its own destiny, and to protect our own people. This is something, it is a sacrifice, but it has to be done.
I have to follow up because it's not...
No, I think we need to move on. Yeah, Tan Ji say? Yeah. Sorry, no question. Yeah. I want to ask my colleagues, Zoraida and Lee Hong, whether they have one final question you want to ask to wrap this up. Lee Hong?
Just one final question. On August 27, Singaporeans will be going to the polls to choose one of you as the president. The other three, my question is all four of you. What would you do the day after? Will you plan to remain in public life, remain in politics for those of you who are or were involved in politics up to very recently, like Mr. Tan Ji say? What are your plans basically after the race is over?
That's assuming I don't get
We all four.
Yeah, okay. Now I believe in executing the voice of the people, even if I'm not president. I will want to organize a channel where people will give their views, and I will want to organize how they could be evaluated and analyzed, and even to have some voting by a group of people. This is called the wisdom of the crowd. 100 people giving their views can make much better decisions than someone in an ivory tower. And I want to organize this to bring the issues to the government.
I probably go back to my medical practice, so I'm the lucky one. Now, the other thing is I have already started my Facebook and my blog. And I probably want to maximize the use of these two media and become one of those people who will be asking questions on not only on political subjects, but on social subjects.
I will wait until I see the results of August 27. Then I'll decide what to do.
Okay.
Well, I intend to remain active in public life. Whatever form it takes depends on how this election pans out, how the campaign pans out, and what my supporters will say.
Thank you. Zoraida? Yeah.
How would you rate your chances, and what would you consider to be a good win? Do you think your moral legitimacy will be affected if the majority that you enjoy is below a certain threshold?
Who do you want to start with?
Anybody who wants to answer the question.
Okay, let me take the offer again. I've done surveys, and right now my survey says all four candidates have about equal chance. So therefore, the TV and the newspaper, the way you present our views can make that final difference. Now, if a president is elected with, let's say, 30 or 35% of the vote, because there are four people, I would consider that to be all right, because all four candidates are very credible. They present their platform. If somebody votes for Dr. Tan Cheng Bock, it doesn't mean they doesn't like me. It just happened to be they like football better. Okay, so I don't. Of course, in other countries you have a system of a second round, the final round. We don't have in Singapore, so that would be my answer.
I have to accept it because this is part of our system. We do not have second or third tier voting, so we have to accept what is the people's voting. Even if I get 30%, I will have to. If I have to win back the other 60% later on, should I become president? Because once you're president, you're president. The mandate is given to you, no matter how small the percentage. But it's your job to try and win back all the others who didn't vote for you.
Well, I think it's okay. The low vote that the winner gets is a reflection of the political diversity of society, and as we mature, we cannot expect to have a dominant voice. I think people are diverse, are different, and they will make their views heard differently. All four of us cater to different segments of the population. The nature of politics, the structure, the game, the procedure is that, well, the one who has the highest wins, and it may be just above 30, just above 40. Yeah.
The President is a president for all Singaporeans, not only for those Singaporeans who vote for him, but also for those Singaporeans who do not vote for him. He has a responsibility to look after all Singaporeans, and I'm sure that whoever is president will exercise that authority and responsibility accordingly.
Right. Well, thank you very much. On behalf of all of us here at the Straits Times, let me thank all of you. I think we have had a very interesting and stimulating discussion. All the best to your campaign. I think all it leads me to say is, will the best Tan win? May the best Tan win. Yeah, thank you.